So today I have Brooklyn with us, who is interested in boosting your organic traffic, social engagement, and conversions with winning B2B SaaS techniques. He has had over 7+ years of content marketing experience, and he has helped a lot of companies grow, specifically, which is something that's very important because I think with the pandemic and everything, there's been an increasing competition, and you need to make yourself stand out amongst thousands of other competitors out there in order for you to grab the attention of the customers. So let's welcome Brooklyn on 10 Minutes of Hiding Wisdom, where he will tell us about what got him into content marketing, how his experience has been, and where he's currently working. Hi, Brooklyn. How are
Hi,
you
great.
doing?
Thanks.
Of course. So, Brooklyn, can you tell us about where you're currently working, what your role is with the company?
Yeah, I am at Outreach on the community team. I head up community content, which right now means coordinating for Sales Hacker, which is owned by Outreach.
Okay. And what does the company specifically do? Can you maybe elaborate a little more on
Yeah,
that?
Outreach is a sales engagement platform and now entering revenue intelligence space and conversational intelligence. So they essentially we help sales teams become more productive, more personalized, and more integrated with the rest of the organization.
Okay, and just curious, there are a lot of tools that exist when it comes to sales and everything. What makes your company specifically different compared to other companies?
Yeah, it's just a lot more robust than just a sequencing tool or an email tool that you can use to send out emails to a bunch of people. It has built-in reporting. It now has sentiment analysis, so you can see how folks are responding to your emails and improve your sequences from there. We have Kaya now with providing conversational intelligence and coaching at scale. So yeah, there's just a lot of pieces that make it a more robust team for the revenue organization.
That's interesting. I think usually when we're writing email sequences and everything, we're just like, okay, how do I edit this? Okay, where do I go from there? Okay, how many emails are too much emailing? So I think it's very useful to have something like this because you can see whether people would be interested or not. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to spam them or annoy
Yes.
them. So I can definitely see why that would be useful. So Brooklyn, can you tell us about why you got into marketing specifically? As in, were you always a creative person that wanted to like create things, or what was your approach towards this?
Yeah, I actually never thought of myself as a creative person. I was that kid in like middle school and high school that was like, I can't draw, I can't play an instrument, I'm just not creative. I mean, I wrote things, but it was almost more academic than creative writing. And then same in college. But I don't know, just a couple years after college, realizing I could take these writing skills and turn it to marketing and kind of grow in the strategic side and analytical side so that it can turn into content marketing. Those are still not necessarily my strengths. I don't have a super analytical mind, but trying to fill the gaps of writing skills with more of that analytics. And then I just started. I just started kind of by accident. I started out freelancing instead of being in house as a marketer, and then just kind of grew into the B2B tech space. So my wife and I still have a small content marketing business on the side. So I keep up on a lot of writing through that, even though my main role now is a lot more focused on editing, managing, strategy, measurement, that kind of thing.
Okay, and what kind of writing, when you're specifically speaking about writing, what kind of writing are you interested in? What kind of content do you create through your marketing agency?
We do a lot of different kinds depending on what the need is from the client. Sometimes it's very SEO focused. We try to create as helpful as possible content to get surfaced through search. And sometimes it's a lot more high level where we're doing ghost writing for a thought leader or a more journalistic type piece where we're bringing together a bunch of perspectives to support their nurture campaigns and social and all of that. So kind of across the board. If it's long form
Okay.
written content, then that's what we can cover.
So you've had a quite success when it comes to marketing, Brooklyn. So according to you, for example, if I was to pursue a career in marketing, what would be some tips that you have for me to break into the industry?
Hmm. Yeah, for content marketing specifically, just to, I mean, there's got to be a more specific version of this, but to get your name out there. So if you're interested in content marketing, you don't I would focus a lot more on your network than on quote unquote job hunting. So this doesn't necessarily mean you have to be super active on social. It could mean you, let's say, start writing on your own and pitching places for guest posts. And then you have your byline posted around, and you can use that to support those conversations and say, look, I worked with MarketingProfs or Drift or G2 or Sales Hacker to get published. And this is what my work looks like. And then it kind of helps you get a sense of what you like and what you don't like too.
Okay. And you mentioned that you should rely on your connections and everything, but usually some people aren't as vocal, some people aren't as extroverted. What would be some tips that you have for them in order to get their name out there?
Yeah. I mean, focus on the one-on-one. Like you don't need, I don't know. You see a bunch of people on LinkedIn talking about how important it is to be super active on LinkedIn, and I'm one of the people that's active on LinkedIn, but I'm not going to say that's the route for everybody. If that's not your way, I mean, there's a lot of communities you can join where it is a lot more about those either small group or one-on-one connections. Sales Hacker has a handful of marketers. There's Rep Genius. There's smaller Slack communities that are all focused on marketing. Some that are focused on finding jobs in marketing. So if folks want recommendations for some of those micro communities on Slack, then definitely reach out. I can point them in the right direction, because those are the space where you can ask great questions, get great answers right there in Slack, jump on one-on-one calls with people in the community, or join the small group roundtable calls. You can just make it a lot more about those more personal connections than like blasting your personal brand all over the place.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. And those Slack channels definitely sound very useful, specifically if you're not as vocal as one could be. And Brooklyn, I saw that you used to work with Metadata. I actually interviewed the CEO of the
Oh
company,
yeah,
Gil, and it was just like, oh, I was like, oh, that's interesting. But yeah, just wanted to bring this
yeah.
up. And Brooklyn, I'd love to hear whether the company that you're currently working with is hiring, what kind of positions are open, and what kind of people are you wanting to join your company?
Yeah, we are hiring. I am not involved in the hiring process for any currently open roles. We just hired two fantastic new content marketing managers, where I did get looped in with the interview process, which was kind of fun actually. But now they're hiring for other roles for around customer marketing, I believe product marketing, and I mean lots of other roles around the organization outside the marketing team too. And who we're looking for,
Okay, well,
the I mean, one of the top values at Outreach is being a hungry craftsperson, which just means having a growth mindset, like knowing that you can always get better at your craft, and putting in the time and effort to do that.
that's very true. I think for the longest time there was this preconceived notion, the fixed mindset that you can't grow. I mean, there are certain characteristics that you're born with and you're stuck with them. But I think with growth mindset and everything, you can learn between the difference between nurture and nature, and how one can actually learn as much as they can if they have the spirit, that is. So thank you for sharing that. And definitely, I if people do reach out to me with interest regarding your company, whether it's based on the roles, whether it's based on the Slack channel that you mentioned, I will definitely forward them to you. But that is all for today, Brooklyn. Thank you so much for coming on the show and for sharing your wisdom
Thank
with
you.
us.